Hello, Gemini. Welcome to January 2019. Thank you guys so much for being here. I have been trying to do your reading for like 2 days. I don't know what the heck is going on. Are you guys doing okay? I'm feeling a lot of nerves. If you're not feeling nervous, I must be picking it up from at least one of you, or like something that I have going on in my own life, which I have no idea what that would be. But like there is so much anxiousness. An anticipation around this reading. And I'm wondering if it's because you're building up to the eclipses in the 8th house, which is intense. And you could be going through some cathartic experience, like some purging of some kind, really preparing yourself and really getting ready for this whole like stepping into this role of this person that you are meant to become. That's the only thing that I can really think of, and it's the only thing that's really coming to my mind as to why I've been struggling so much with this. Get the Hierophant, 2 of Swords, 3 of Coins. When we get the Hierophant coming out, this is actually quite applicable for you. Sorry, I know I'm talking a little bit quieter. I have someone sleeping in the next room. Visitors for my mom visiting for Christmas. So here we have the Hierophant, and this is applicable to you because it is the Taurus archetype, which occupies your 12th house. And there's so much steadiness here, and there's so much sturdiness here, and it really speaks to potentially you stepping up your game, focusing on just kind of what's in front of you and only really dealing with the things that you actually can deal with, and not worrying about all the extraneous kind of factors that you don't have control over. This is about composure and being like, okay, I know I'm in the right place at the right time, even if I can't really quite see what that is or quite see what that means. There's no questioning here with the Hierophant. There's only a sense of being entirely sure. And knowing that what it is you're doing is the right thing. And I think it is. So whatever transitions you're making, whatever situations you find yourself in, they are the right ones for you for right now. And you absolutely are being guided into this amazing path. I genuinely feel that January is going to be a time of feeling buildup. Like, okay, you're going to feel that energy. But once the eclipse is hit and we move into February, you're going to feel the release of that. And I think you're going to feel a lot of things changing. I think you're going to feel a lot of comfort, right? Taurus, comfort. You're going to be finding a lot of that coming online for you, which will be amazing. So when we have the 3 of Coins, there's still progress, there's still day-to-day kind of stuff, there's still communication and collaboration, there's creativity and all sorts of things. There's a leveraging your past experience into something more. Maybe some of you are going out and like finally getting that dream job. Maybe some of you are mixing and mingling and networking just to kind of like expand and see what's possible. It's really going to be about what's possible for you, right? With the material quality of the 2nd house and even the material quality of the 8th house too, which does have a lot to do with other people's money. You really could be like building businesses or earning a lot of money for your company, which makes you a much more valuable asset. The one thing I will always say that I've always loved about Gemini is their creativity, like the way your mind works. Like as a Virgo, fellow Mercury ruled, there is a little bit of like, man, I wish my mind worked like that, because I've just never seen anybody. It's like just you guys. It's so special to who you are. And when you start using the quality of your mind and the intellect that you are just born with to your benefit, and you start thinking outside those boxes, which Gemini can't be contained, right? Like there's no way you can contain a Gemini. It's like, wow, what can be accomplished is just absolutely unreal. And I think you're stepping into that. There may come a time this month where you feel like you're at a crossroads. And I always say this with this card is there's not really a crossroads. If you feel torn between one direction or another, you're not centered. and your sense of purpose is waning or it's wavering in some way. But when the Hierophant has a path, when he has a purpose, when he's living in that purpose, that's it. I mean, any decisions that come his way, he says, okay, well, what is the most in line with my purpose? What is the most in line with my mission in life? And usually there's only one answer. So if you feel like you don't know what to do, it means that you're not entirely like in that right mindset, in that right place. And meditation will be so critical, right? The blindfold on the Two of Swords is so important because it's kind of like a blind faith. You don't need to look at stuff. You don't need to, you can use your mind in the material world, but when you're using your mind for trying to figure out your life path, like that's not something you can rationalize or justify. That's something that just comes through you from a spiritual place. So when you find yourself there and you find yourself overthinking stuff and trying to figure stuff out and trying to like be logical about it, that's the time to really pump the brakes and be like, okay, I need to just take a step back, maybe even put my blindfold on, stop thinking about it, and just kind of let the answer come to me. And that can be hard sometimes because I know you want to like talk about it and you want to get other people's opinions, but you don't, other people's opinions are going to make it cloudy. And they're going to project their own stuff onto you, and they're going to like say what, you don't need to make it more messy than it could be potentially. You don't need to. It's not worth it. Here's the rest that's needed, but you might not necessarily be taking. I think you have a lot of activity this month. I think that's really what it is too. It's like there's just so many things going on. Maybe work is really busy in January. Your family's got a lot going on. It is the new year. You have all these goals you're trying to get out of the gate, trying to do, maybe you do the whole New Year's resolution thing, whatever. But this should be the priority, right? Meditation. This is objective thinking. But it's like thinking with like the mind's eye here. It's not thinking with all the possibilities. It's letting that flow come to you. And when it's reversed, it can be challenging. Maybe it's even just challenging to just get away, right? Maybe you just have so many things calling you and needing your time and attention that getting away itself is difficult. But it is needed and it is recommended big time, because with the 8th house stuff, not only is it the eclipses, you guys, but it's also the buildup of Saturn, Pluto. Okay, so it's a very interesting year. And because it's happening in such an incredibly deep place in your chart, you have to just expect deep transformations. Like in the next 2 years, you are going to be a completely different person. There's no doubt about it. And this is like roll with the punches. Just roll with the punches. Just see where it takes you. I would really relinquish control a lot and just let life do its thing, because the more you try to fight it, the more you try to repress it, the more you try to rationalize it, the more difficult it's going to be. Plain and simple. So the Tower, well, yeah, eclipses, okay, and the 4 of Cups. Interesting to have the Tower come out next to the Hierophant. One, Hierophant is so much about structure and the institution and even our own internal dogma, right? Our own internal set of rules that we abide by. And here comes the Tower. It's like, nope. Like that dogma needs to just like fly right out the window. It's not needed, it's not necessary, and it's hindering you. Look, Gemini, you're like the dark horses of the Zodiac this year. Like for real. You guys are going to be creeping out of the woodwork, creeping out of the shadows, and just like straight shot to the top, whatever the top means for you. Straight shot. And I think the rest of the Zodiac is going to get whiplash, almost just like, whoa, where did Gemini come from? Where the heck is, like, holy cow. And it's because you're going to get this kickoff, right? It's going to be, January will be have some stagnation to it, and you'll feel the anxiety, you'll feel the tension, but once it hits and you feel that release or that purge, it's just going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I let all that stuff hold me back for so long. Like, I'm not afraid anymore. I don't care what other people think anymore. I don't care. Like, and that's the thing that's so beautiful. When that happens to people in their lives is when they really just stop caring, and they start creating for the sake of creation, and they start collaborating for the sake of community, and they start really giving back, and they really just release themselves of the hindrances of their ego and just serve, right? To serve life, to serve the universe, and to be a contributor in life. And there's no emotional attachment to anything. I think you have, depending on all your other placements too, but Gemini generically and in its most general sense, it's not the most clingy sign, right? Like, that's not your vibe at all. Clinginess and emotional attachments and stuff, like, no. You guys can go from one to the next to the next to the next without really, okay, because life is an adventure, and you have that kind of sense of freedom, and you have that, mutable air, like flexibility and agility. And so this is great. This is a perfect card for you, because it's, okay, yes, the universe may give me things, or life may give me things, or maybe other people give me things through my collaboration, but I'm not just going to do it just to do it or just to please anybody. Like, I'm going to think it through. And I like that emotionally you're here. I struggle that mentally you're here, though. I'd really prefer to see you more at peace, because this can have a little bit of like a twinge of discomfort. It's fine. I mean, it's temporary. This whole reading is temporary, and it won't last, past middle of February, kind of thing. So you'll have time to really work on the quieting of the mind. What else for Gemini? What else for Gemini? Interesting, we're getting the Taurus archetypes. Are you dealing with a Taurus, maybe? I don't know, I feel like it's you, though. I feel like this has a lot to do with really where you are, the lack of groundedness. There's no stability coming out here at all. I'm not saying you don't have a house or anything like that, and it's just more about the transition. And you should feel like that. I think that's a good thing, to be prepared for that, to realize that you're not on firm grounding. Be careful that you don't let your demons creep up. Because when the King of Coins comes out and he's in an upright position or in a reverse position, I always look at the black of his throne. And it's kind of like his throne has toppled over on him, his darkness. And when I say darkness, I mean the dark psychology, the negative thoughts, the doubts, the fears, those kinds of things. And you may actually be dealing with someone who may be mirroring that kind of stuff back to you. And if you have someone like that in your life, maybe someone who's causing you to be like all in your head and really unsure and a lot of those kinds of things, this person's role in your life might need to be reevaluated to some extent. This is a negatively manifested Taurus, which can be incredibly selfish. Can be very much more of a taker than like someone who's really generous, but they take and they expect a lot from other people as well. And they need the energy of others to give them the energy. And so this can be a little bit vampiric. When someone like this, they may be going through their own tower moment. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. It's eclipse season, and the readings this month have been all across the board. When the planets are doing some nice consistent things, it's really common for all the signs, or at least lumpings of signs, like the summer months or the fall months or something, to kind of have similar messages, because you're so close together and the stars are similar. But to be honest, this is not a month that's like that. So you have to expect that if you're dealing with a Cancer, they're going through one thing. If you're dealing with an Aries, they're going through a totally different experience. If you're dealing with another Gemini, they may be going through something similar. And then you'll know how deep that is, right? So you have to expect, it's like different strokes for different folks. It's really what it is. So just let people be and do what they're needing to be and do. No expectations of anyone except for yourself. No expectations for any kind of outcome whatsoever. Because the King of Pentacles is not necessarily someone that can deliver right now. So we'll look more into that when we pull the cards for the comprehensive reading. But I do struggle with that one. That's a tough one. And it's someone who can be incredibly stubborn, you know, being right for the sake of being right. They don't like to admit that maybe they could do something better, or they've been doing something wrong or whatever. I love how many things are actually opening up this month too. It's endings begetting openings. And there is an element of spiritual fulfillment that can come through for you. There can be an element of love that can come through for you. And I say love, I don't necessarily mean romantic love, although it could be, or it could be a love that you share with your partner as well, if you're already established in a connection. It's new levels. And I see the dove, and I see the symbolism with peace. And I feel as though they are plucking the peaceful heartstrings, right? Like they're striking that chord where what you want more than anything is peace. What you want is serenity, because it's only when we have that peace inside, when we have that stillness inside, that we can then begin to truly overflow. Okay? And we want to see you overflowing, because it's when people overflow is when they really begin to share their gifts with the world. And there isn't a single person on this planet that doesn't have something to offer, right? All 7+ billion of us have something very special and very unique to offer. And we want to see Gemini like tapping into that and being so overwhelmed with joy and compassion and love and happiness that it's like, I can't help but share it. I can't help but give it. And you may feel that. Again, 8th house activity, it's water, right? 8th house, Scorpio, it's water, even though it's in the sign of Capricorn. That's why I think power is really like coming online, and how like you're really increasing your status in whatever realm or whatever field you're in because of the Capricorn quality. Capricorn plus Scorpio, I mean, these are the two powerhouses of the zodiac, the ones that climb really, really high to the top of the food chain. And they are in like so much control of themselves. So that's beautiful. We'll clarify that too. 4 more cards. And then I'll put the camera down so you can see what they look like. And then we'll pull the cards for the comprehensive. 7 of Wands. Let's pull the other 3. 7 of Wands is, I just think you're going to feel like life may feel a little bit against you. And it goes well with the Tower. Okay, it does. It goes well with the Tower, because sometimes we're like, oh man, that seems like such an unfortunate thing. It seems like a really, stressful kind of thing. But you fight and you do what you know you got to do. And it's short-lived, again, this kind of adversarial feeling. Sometimes we are our own adversary. Sometimes we do feel like someone is working against us a little bit, like they either really don't support us or they really just don't understand what we're trying to do. And they can be very opinionated, which can be problematic. But see here, this is all about taking that leap of faith. And I think the Temperance card and the Ace of Cups are saying the same thing. It's serenity, moderation, one day at a time. You can take a leap of faith, but you don't have to completely abandon everything. It's not so black and white. You can take a leap of faith energetically and keep your world the same and be like, okay, universe, I'm totally ready. What comes next? What do we got to do now? And then eventually those doors are going to start opening. And you should feel peaceful with that. You should feel peaceful with how much of a transition is happening right in front of you. You should feel peaceful with the change itself. When we have the Eight of Coins, it suggests the day by day, one thing at a time, because you can't do anything more than that anyway. There's no such thing as really multitasking. Like, that's not even really a thing. You have to focus on what's in front of you in the moment, and that's it. Let's look at the cards. Let's put this down. Let's go like this here. Let's move the camera to the proper orientation. There we go. Okay, so this is what the cards look like for me. So let's look at the Tower first, because I think that's the most dramatic. There may be a family thing. We're seeing the coins. I often see this as being a card of legacy, immediate family, like parents and siblings, or it could be the immediate family that you've created for yourself. This could even be a jump forward. It doesn't always have to be destructive. It could actually be like promotions and things like that. It's just change, and change is neutral. It can go both ways. That's the catharsis, the emotional purging that's needed. Beautiful. We love a Two of Cups. There's a connection with love. There's a connection with communication, working together, agreements, good negotiations, all those kinds of things. Contracts working out well. So we'll talk about that as well. Let's look at the King of Coins. If this is a work scenario, you just gotta really speak up and say what it is you want. They're really on the fence about stuff. I don't know. I don't like what they're perpetuating here. You really don't have a lot of control over this person. The Hanged Man, which we'll talk about too, is keeping everything just as it is. So change for you internally and change for the things that you have control over, but not a lot of change regarding some situation that involves someone else, okay? So they're pretty firm on stuff. Let's look at the Four of Swords here. Okay, kind of contradicts the Two of Cups over there. The Two of Cups can also be an internal energy of coming together. Here you are, Gemini, right? Your twins not working well together, sounds like. Your twins are in some kind of a disagreement. Okay, wow, lost 4 major arcana coming out there. So Four of Swords is pretty intense. Okay, well, there's too much to say. We'll talk about it. Okay. Ace of Cups. Beautiful and amazing. Ace of Coins to clarify the Ace of Cups. So one more for that one. Six of Coins. Okay. There's going to be a lot of things coming to you. You don't have to take them all, you know, you don't have to. Just because the universe gives you an opportunity doesn't mean you have to take it, but just make sure that you're not taking it because it's what you really want, rather than you're not taking it because of a fear that you have. Two of Swords. There does seem to be an idea that more aces. You seem to feel like you're not operating with all the right information, or you're like waiting, maybe stuck in kind of a wishy-washy state, waiting for something to come to light. But I don't know, I think you do have all the information. Death. Yeah, well, we know the Death card. You're getting 2 Scorpio cards. Yeah, that's your 8th house stuff. So that's fine. That's not a surprise. Let's look at the Seven of Wands. What is it that you're really fighting here? you fighting some kind of an inability to see the outcome? I think so. Struggling to see the outcome. Okay. This is why this right here, the Death card, the Moon card, the Hanged Man, the Swords, this is why I think it was such a struggle for me the past few days, because it's just, you're thinking about stuff so much. So much. Beginning and an end. Wow, you really are closing out a big cycle. Okay. Interesting. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. If you're interested in learning more, okay, you can join me with the comprehensive. The link will be down below. And that's it. I really wish you guys absolutely nothing but the best. I'll do the readings before the eclipses, so I suspect the February readings will be somewhat similar and we'll continue the story. Okay? Thank you so much. Take care.